Hey, it's Clay at claytrader.com. This will be my top 10 stocks as we head into Monday, June 6th. This will be a technical analysis breakdown. So if you're somebody that uses charts within your trading, or maybe you're just interested in learning more about charts and how they can be used to help make good decisions as a trader, this will be a video for you. A couple of quick clarification points before I get to the stocks. First off, this number you see over here will still be changing and the candlestick's still going to be moving around, but that's because the market's still open for a small amount of time. But I like to do these videos when the market is still open because sometimes we can capture some really interesting late day price movement on video. But the market is close enough to being done for the day where everything I talk about will still be relevant on Monday. And then next, I'll be using the 30-minute time frame. So if you're a beginner, what I mean by that is each one of these candlesticks here, as they're called, represents 30 minutes worth of time. So stock number one here, EFOI. And what a monster on this one. I mean, check out this volume. Huge volume and a very nice recovery. Things are looking pretty shaky. I mean, it did make a great move and then completely collapsed. And then, so to anybody that bought that dip right there, congratulations. You sure were rewarded today. But point being, very nice movement here. And now we have a very nice pattern here going into next week. And when you have well-defined patterns, call it a self-fulfilling prophecy, call it whatever you want, it can certainly produce some very dynamic movements. And that's what we have here. So let's get this pattern here drawn out. First part of the pattern, resistance right up there at $1.80. And then you have the secondary area of the pattern down here, that area of support right there. So let me change that to green to represent more so a bullish dynamic. And then just to make this all the same color, make it easier to see, we have our resistance, we have our support, we have the big momentum move right there. Let's put a golf hole down there to make it that much more visual. So this would be known as a bull pennant pattern. So if you like to play bull pennants, if you like to play stocks down below $2, then this is one that should definitely be on your watch list. And again, no guarantees, but my point here is it valid? Is it rational to think, even if it's just a self-fulfilling prophecy, that if the price comes up here and then gets a break up through the top part of that pattern, that break could create some additional buying pressure? Yeah, that's a not guaranteed thought, but certainly a rational thought process to go through. Next one, AMD, and overall, a fine day. Now, there's a bit of perspective that goes into this, meaning if you're a day trader and you bought right there and your plan was to buy and sell within 7 minutes, well, then yeah, from that perspective, the chart's looking kind of rough because the price did pull back. However, taking a step back and looking at more than one single day, you can see that overall, the uptrend is still intact, and it was just a consolidation day with the price pulling back. So yeah, you still have this 110 area of, 110.50 area of resistance up there. But the one dynamic I want to add in here is there does seem to be this little miniature trend line right there to keep an eye on. Maybe that's unnecessary. Maybe you would disagree with that, and that's totally fine if we would disagree on that. Maybe you think I'm creating too much clutter now with lines all over the place. But like I said, a couple different ways you could view any sort of potential breakout. So if you were to say AMD needs to break out, well, that of course prompts the question, well, how are you defining the term breakout? And you have a couple of choices here. Someone's going to say that trend line. Others may just say, now my definition of a breakout is going to be up around that area. But point here being is both these red lines are generally speaking right around the same area. So right up around 110, 110.50 is going to be that main breakout level. If there are any sort of pullbacks, then the level that I talked about previously down here at 104.50, I mean the power of charts. Check it out. Price bounced right off that level. That would be an area to watch. And you also have that purple line there, which has now moved its way up to that area, and that is the 50-period moving average. So right around 104.50, 104, you would expect to be an area of support if the price does pull back to that area. Next one, AMC, and rough day today as the price, not necessarily because it was red, but because the price did break down below this area of support here at 1290 that I talked about, which prompts the first key update and actually proves to be a very real-life example of, basic rules in charting. But this rule states that when levels of support are broken and closed below, they tend to act as resistance. And I mean, check it out. Price broke down below it, bounced up, acted as resistance once, bounced all the way back up, and wouldn't you know it, once again acted as resistance again. So while I'm not saying that 1290 can never ever be broken, all I'm saying is it makes sense why the price did get rejected at those two areas. And if there is any sort of attempted bounce back to the upside, that's where the big question mark comes into play, in the sense of, okay, that's great, the price has gotten up here, but the last two times it did, it failed. So is that going to fail again, or can the bulls actually break above that level? So 1290 will definitely be a very watched level next week. And then as far as areas of support are concerned, new key level to watch, going to be right down here. There we go. My face was, my ugly mug was blocking the area here. But right there at that gap close location at $12.20. So there's a gap close, and then you can see it close the gap right there. And to give credit where credit's due, did hold strong before bouncing back up. So 1290 and 1220 going to be those two main levels to watch going into Monday. Next one here, NIO, and just the pattern continues to get better and better and more well-defined. So going back to the first talking point, I'm not trying to proclaim that I have a special talent or this is a great discovery. I assure you a lot of people have noticed this pattern, and when a lot of people are watching the same pattern, wondering the same things, call it a self-fulfilling prophecy, whatever you want. It can definitely produce some dynamic movements. So this red line here is from previous videos where I've talked about this in the watch list up here at 1890. So nothing has changed in regards to that being a level of resistance. But what now just stands out that much more is this overarching area of support right there. So let me change that again to green. And we're looking at a multi-day pattern here. And as I did earlier, to keep it all maybe a little easier to see, keep it one color, we have our resistance, we have our support, we have the big momentum move right there, and let's put our golf hole down there for you golfers. So another bull pennant pattern, but unlike the other one that I showed, that was just a pattern within the same day. This one is taking place over multiple days. So whether you're a day trader or swing trader, there's definitely several different ways you could approach this. But the point here being, and the idea of a watch list, is to find unique situations, to find interesting situations, and then watch them, not randomly buy them, but watch them and see if they ultimately behave in a way that's going to fit your personal strategy. But yeah, if you like to play bull pennant patterns, especially if you like to play them over multiple day periods, then here you go. Next one, IMPP, and a beautiful day today, more so beautiful afternoon, because you look here at the early part of the day and nothing really was going on, but then late day volume came pouring in and the price really started to react with it, which brings about it sounds like a basic question, but it's not really as basic as it seems. But the question is this, and it revolves around the fact that you can see right there, the price is broken through this, multiple day trend line that rejected the price several times, but late afternoon got the breakout there and has now started to break out, which brings about the question, is this the start of something much bigger? Now, think about what's had to have been, in order for me to ask that question. Well, something first needs to happen in the first place, or else you can't ask that question. And in many situations, nothing ever happens. And you look at a stock and there is no, wow, is this the start of something bigger? It's just crickets. But here, something did happen. You got a breakout. So now it becomes a question of, is this the start of something much bigger, which goes back to the whole idea of a watch list, is you don't just randomly buy, but you start to really, if you consider these unique, interesting situations, then definitely want to watch them, because who knows? If this is the start of something bigger, maybe we'll be sitting back here, a week from now, next Friday, saying, wow, remember this thing was at 60 cents, it's at $1 now. I don't know if that's going to happen, but the point here is that you got the breakout on nice volume. So is this the start of a much bigger breakout? Let's see what happens with it next week. Now, real quick, before I get to the back of the stocks, I want to invite you to get signed up for this free live online class that I'm offering next week. So if you've been liking what you see and now you want to learn more about this tool, how it should be used to help build consistency as a trader, then certainly get signed up for the free class. If you're watching on YouTube, there's a link down in the description box. If you're watching at my site, there's an area right there on the webpage. Like I said, if you've been enjoying what you see, you want to learn more, then certainly get signed up for that free class. Next one, AMLX, and this is on the watch list for a very simple reason and because of one line. And once again, not a great discovery. It's completely revolved around that whole topic of self-fulfilling prophecies. But this area right here at $12.50. This is basically the top part of this little consolidation pattern that occurred all day long after that opening 30 minutes. So huge gap up, big eventful 30 minutes, price pulled back. And the key with the pullback, and this will mean a bit more to those that have traded for a while, is you've seen stocks gap up, pull back, and then they just keep dropping and go back into oblivion. But that wasn't the case here. The price at least started to go sideways. Now, let me be very clear. I wish I could say trading was this easy. Just because the price went sideways does not mean that for sure guaranteed the pullback's over and that this thing's going to skyrocket to the upside. However, is it plausible? Is it valid to think that, okay, maybe this pullback is over, and if this thing can get up through 1250, maybe that could create some good solid buying pressure? Again, not a guaranteed thought process, but certainly a more than valid one. So definitely 1250 is a level that I'll be watching next week. Next one, IOVA. Probably put this one in the wrong location of the watch list because it follows the principle of asking that question, is this the start of something bigger? And what do we have here? Well, late day, last 30 minutes, check it out. That final candle. So now that I think about it, because it's Friday, not only the last 30 minutes of the day, but the last 30 minutes of the week. Big, huge green volume bar there. And that green candle there just peeked its head over the trend line. So it goes back to that question of, all right, the breakout has happened. Is it the start of something bigger? Maybe it's not, but that's a two-sided coin because, well, maybe it is. And who knows how much potential upside is to come next week. So if you like these scenarios, if you like to, judge them, like to play breakouts, especially with stocks down below $10, then I would certainly get this one on your watch list. Next one here, NVAX. I'm going to try something new with this one. Usually I'm always talking about going long, which is the traditional, you buy something. But here for you bears out there that either like to play puts or like to short stocks, this is a very interesting pattern. And what I see here is a good old fashioned. So we do have a little upwards channel. There's no doubt about that. But the context of that is you just had a big downwards move. In other words, a bear flag pattern. So if you are somebody that likes to play puts within the options world, or you just like to short stocks, then a bear flag is staring you right in the face here, and certainly one that may be worth watching. If you do like to try to play long side, then yeah, I'll give credit where credit's due. The bulls did start to show some signs of strength with the bounce upwards, but you got to keep in mind the overall context and how that previously there was a big move. So it really just becomes a question for the longs and really everybody of, okay, well, is this bounce actually truly strong? And if it's not, well, then the shorts are going to be all over it as the bear flag breaks to the downside. But if it keeps on grinding to the upside, then who knows? Maybe this is the start of something bigger to the upside. But as far as just kind of where my mind automatically went as soon as I saw it, bear flag pattern. So let's see what happens with it. Next one here, ticker symbol HUSA, and I can totally tell it's Friday. Once again, this is totally not in the right place for the watch list because it goes with the question of, okay, got the big movement right there through the breakout. No doubt about it. There was that big trend line, broke through it, and then picked up that much more momentum the last 30 minutes, that much more volume. So you know what I'm going to do now, right? You know that I'm going to draw this question mark, and you know that I'm going to say, okay, is this the start of something bigger? Is what the start of something bigger? The breakout. And like I said, a lot of stocks did not break out today. So it seems like, geez, what a boring question. But hey, you know what? A lot better than not being able to ask any question at all. But the next level that a lot of people, I think will be watching is going to be right up here around that $6 mark. Yeah, now that I look at it, I don't see why people wouldn't be watching that. So let's actually change it up to make it a little bit different. And why $6? Well, this is where the party stopped a few days ago. That does not mean that the party will automatically stop again at $6. But yeah, if the price gets up there, you're going to have long, shorts, everybody in between watching, wondering, okay, yeah, the price got up here, but can it push through it? And if it can push through it, well, then who knows how much more momentum this thing could gather in. Because you already know there's people watching it because of the trendline breakout. But now if that $6 breakout happens, once more, and as I said a million times, we'll continue to say, no guarantees, but it does make it valid to think that a break of $6 could create just that much more interest and buying pressure. Next one, TSLA Tesla. Talked about this one and just an epic failure of the pattern. At least Tesla was polite enough to just gap down and say, yeah, this pattern that you were talking about yesterday, Clay, that is no longer valid at all. So like I said, it could have been worse. It could have looked like it wanted to behave and then fall apart. But with that big gap down with the news of the jobs and layoffs and all that, it kind of revealed its hand pretty soon. But as far as levels that I'll be watching next week, and Tesla's one that I look to try to trade every day, main area of resistance that stands out, that pink line there, the very famous 200-period moving average, and right there, that's why it's famous. Look right where it got rejected. That level is essentially right there at $717. As far as areas of support are concerned, got to squeeze things down here a little bit. But the first key level to watch, is that where it bounced off of today? Oh, no, not even close. Oh, actually down here. Right at the $700 mark, which is not shocking in and of itself. It's just a big round number. But then when you match it up with the chart, you can see found some support there from a couple weeks ago, and then once again several times got right around that $700 mark. So I assure you that longs, shorts, everybody will be watching $700. If 700 cannot quite hold up, then the next key level to watch after that going to be down there right around the $680 mark. But on the flip side, it should be fair. If the price does bounce up and get up through that 200-period moving average, next key level to watch would be that 50-period moving average right now valid at 748. So yeah, rough day here for Tesla, but wow, what a showdown taking place with that $700 mark. I'll be very anxious to see how the price behaves at that level on Monday. So that wraps up the top 10. Again, like I said earlier, if you enjoyed what you saw here and you want to learn more about this tool, how it should be used to help build consistency as a trader, then certainly get signed up for the free class next week. Like I said, it'll be Thursday, June 9th at 7 p.m. Eastern time. So I hope to see you there. As far as these top 10 videos are concerned, if you enjoy this format, if you would like for me to continue to put the time and effort required to structure these watch lists, then do two things for me to show your interest. Hit that like button, leave a simple comment. Say hi. Tell me what you traded today. Tell me what you're watching next week. But hitting the like button and leaving a basic comment truly do go a long way in communicating to me that you enjoy as a viewer. As long as I know that you as viewers are enjoying, I will continue to put in the time and effort to get these watch list videos out to you. So again, get signed up for that free class next week. Hopefully I'll see you there. Everybody take care and have a great weekend.